What if I told you that the person who makes your life miserable is actually your greatest gift? Rumi believed that your worst enemy holds the key to your highest spiritual growth. In the Masnavi, he reveals a meditation practice so powerful that it transforms hatred into wisdom, pain into awakening. But this practice comes with a warning. There is someone in your life right now who triggers you more than anyone else. Just thinking about them makes your chest tighten. Their voice echoes in your head long after they have spoken. Their actions replay in your mind like a broken record. You call them your enemy, your tormentor, the source of your suffering. But Rumi would tell you something that might shock you. This person is not your curse. They are your greatest teacher. In the Masnavi, Rumi writes that God places certain people in our path not to destroy us, but to reveal us. Your enemy is not random. They are not an accident. They are a mirror, carefully positioned by divine wisdom to show you exactly what you need to see about yourself. But most people miss this entirely because they are too busy hating God. Think about your worst enemy for a moment. What is it about them that drives you insane? Is it their arrogance, their cruelty, their selfishness, their betrayal? Whatever it is, Rumi discovered something profound. The things we hate most in others are often the very things we fear most in ourselves. Your enemy is not just hurting you. They are revealing you. But here is where it gets deeper. Rumi believed that our enemies are actually closer to God than we realize because they are doing the work that no one else can do. They are breaking down our ego. They are shattering our illusions. They are forcing us to face parts of ourselves we would rather keep hidden. This is why Rumi called them teachers. Not because they are kind or wise, but because they are effective. Friend will never show you your shadow. Your friend will comfort you, support you, tell you what you want to hear. But your enemy will strip you naked. They will expose every weakness, every fear, every hidden flaw. They will push you beyond your limits until you have no choice but to transform or break. And in that moment of breaking, something miraculous can happen. You can discover who you really are beneath all the masks. This is why Rumi developed what he called the enemy meditation. It is not about forgiveness. It is not about turning the other cheek. It is about recognizing that your enemy is serving a divine purpose, whether they know it or not. They are the instrument through which God is sculpting your soul. But this meditation is dangerous. Not everyone can handle it. Because once you truly understand that your enemy is your teacher, everything changes. You can no longer play the victim. You can no longer blame them for your suffering. You begin to see that they are simply playing their role in your spiritual awakening, just as you are playing yours in theirs. The meditation begins with a radical shift in perspective. Instead of seeing your enemy as someone who is hurting you, you begin to see them as someone who is serving you. They are giving you exactly what you need for your growth, even if it feels like poison. This does not mean you enjoy the pain. It means you begin to understand its purpose. Rumi teaches that every enemy carries a gift, but the gift is hidden beneath layers of anger, resentment, and pain. To access this gift, you must go deeper than your emotions. You must go beyond your story of victimhood. You must ask yourself the question that no one wants to ask. What is this person teaching me about myself? Maybe they are teaching you about your need for control. Maybe they are showing you how much you depend on others for validation. Maybe they are revealing your hidden arrogance, your secret fears, your unconscious patterns. The lesson is always personal. It is always about you, not them. But here is the most radical part of Rumi's teaching. He believed that we actually attract our enemies, not consciously, but spiritually. Our soul calls forth the exact experiences we need for our evolution, even if our ego wants to avoid them. Your enemy is not a mistake. They are an answer to a prayer you never knew you made. A prayer for growth, for awakening, for truth. Is why fighting your enemy is like fighting your own shadow. The more you resist them, the stronger they become in your mind. The more you hate them, the more power you give them over your peace. But when you begin to see them as your teacher, something shifts. You stop giving them your energy and start reclaiming your power. The enemy meditation requires you to do something that goes against every instinct. You must thank your enemy, not to their face, not in words, but in your heart. You must thank them for showing you what you could not see on your own, for pushing you beyond your comfort zone, for forcing you to grow in ways you never would have. Chosen. This gratitude is not weakness. It is the ultimate strength. Because when you can be grateful for your enemy, you have transcended the need for them to be different. You have found peace, not despite their actions, but because of what those actions have taught you. Rumi discovered that when we truly embrace our enemies as teachers, we often find that they begin to change. Not because we have forced them to change, but because we have changed our relationship to them. When you stop resisting someone, they often stop pushing. When you stop hating someone, they often lose their power to hurt you. But even if they never change, you have changed. And that is what matters, because the goal was never to fix them. The goal was to free yourself. Your enemy was never really your enemy. They were your liberation disguised as your limitation. This practice will transform how you see every difficult person in your life. The annoying coworker becomes a teacher of patience. The critical parent becomes a teacher of self-worth. The betraying friend becomes a teacher of discernment. Every enemy becomes an angel in disguise, sent to deliver exactly the lesson your soul ordered. But remember Rumi's warning. This practice is not for everyone. It requires you to take complete responsibility for your inner state. It requires you to give up the comfort of blame. It requires you to see God's hand even in the actions of those who seem most godless. Those who can embrace this teaching find something extraordinary. They find that they no longer have enemies. Not because everyone has become kind, but because they have learned to see the divine purpose in every encounter. They have learned that everyone is either loving them or calling for love, teaching them or asking to be taught. Your worst enemy is indeed your greatest teacher, but the lesson they are teaching you is not about them. It is about you, about your capacity to find meaning in suffering, love in hatred, growth in pain, about your ability to transform poison into medicine, enemies into allies, obstacles into opportunities. The question is not whether you have enemies. The question is whether you are ready to graduate from being their victim to being their student. Whether you are ready to stop asking why they are hurting you and start asking what they are teaching you. When you are ready for this level of spiritual maturity, your enemies become your greatest allies. Not because they have changed, but because you have changed. And in that change, you discover something Rumi knew all along. There are no enemies. There are only teachers wearing different masks. The person who makes your life most difficult is actually offering you your greatest gift. The gift of awakening. The gift of growth. The gift of discovering who you really are when everything you thought you were gets stripped away. This is Rumi's enemy meditation. The practice of finding the divine in the darkness, the teacher in the tormentor, the blessing in the burden. It is not easy. But for those brave enough to try it, it is the path to a freedom that no enemy can ever take away.